Welcome back to the Stoop football fans. It's your boy Lolo, and today, by football fans, we are actually talking about Premier League football, soccer, if you will, as well as American football, NFL. So we're gonna sort of combine these two because we at on the Stoop Lolo we have the luxury of being in the United States. So we get bombarded all the time with, oh, you do a football show? Are you a Giants fan? Are you a Jets fan? Are you a Cowboys fan? And all that nonsense. And we always have to explain, no, we're talking football, the one with your feet. But it is NFL playoff time, and we thought, we're all kind of paying attention nowadays. I watched that shootout between the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, which had this young man, Patrick Mahomes, lighten it up. I think there were like 30 points, 25 points scored in the last 3 minutes of that game. And I'm still having I need to make sure to call the NFL games, but the Premier League matches are matches. But we're going to be getting into all the differences between the NFL, the Premier League, soccer, football in general, in comparison with the NFL. And that is going to lead us into the conversation of this guy, this incredible athlete who's groundbreaking. He shows immense skill, and he's done it from the moment he got his first start. And, which Premier League player would we think would be the Patrick Mahomes of the Premier League? So before we get started, don't forget, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. It's the holy trinity of YouTube. So go ahead and get all that in there. And let me go ahead and bring in my co-host. He's a Wolves fan in the Premier League, but he's a Vikings fan in the NFL. You know him, you love him. Get him in here, Mr. Mark.
So in other words, the teams I picked just ain't gonna win.
Well, it just shows that you're a fan of the games, because clearly
exactly it does.
You're not a glory hunter.
Cred. By the way, when you were like, amazing athlete and all these things, and you're talking up Mahomes, for a second there, I thought you were getting ready to introduce me.
Oh, I think we've seen your amazing athleticism.
Y'all seen from the barbecue when I slotted that past all those 10-year-olds.
10-year-olds. The only good thing about that was those 10-year-olds were talking mad shit. So I'm glad you put one in the top of the box.
I had to. I didn't want to go back to my seat. Oh. And then you went full Salah. Like I've been running with leads, and then I went full Salah.
So, Mark, clearly we're not talking about anyone who's on our NFL team that we support. We're not talking, for me, would be Drew Brees. I'm a New Orleans Saints fan, just like James. For you, I don't know, Fran Tarkenton. I don't know any Vikings.
Well, we're just going to stick with today. And that's what we got.
I can't talk shit. Vikings have been the bane of the Saints' existence.
No. We own the Saints. In fact, I kind of felt bad because it happened at the end of Drew Brees' career, and that was his window. He had a remaining
and we were the better team.
Each and every time you were the better team, and each and every time we beat you at the last play of the game, karma's a bitch.
Mark, well, before we get too far into it, let's say hi to all these guys over here who are in the comments section, because this is about you guys a lot. So let's talk to the Stoop crew a little bit. Jimmy, Bremer's Ghost, I've been talking to you all day on the comments from here. Who else do we have? Ben Ireland, Gary, don't waste the tweet. We got BX Gunner in the house. We have Mr. Tom. And Jimmy, of course, says Ava, which means all vampires are we, because Jimmy, like a few of these other guys, are over in the UK, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're here to listen to us talk about a sport that they don't even watch. And Dan Hornstein, I see you there. Scott Newby, I see you there. Ben Arizona, I see you in here. Big up to all you guys. This is going to be our, what do they call, mashup. So let's do a little, hey, there's the Leeds United Arizona right there. So we're doing a little mashup today. And we do have a special guest who's going to come on in a minute. But Mark, a big reason that I wanted to do a show like this, and I want to continue to do some shows where we bring in NFL to the Premier League, sort of mashups like this, is that when people are like, oh, what team should I support? I support, I'm a Yankees fan, or I'm a Giants fan, or I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Which Premier League team should I support? I'm like, I don't know. Let's start with players. So we're talking Patrick Mahomes, who kicked off when he was 21. He got signed by the Kansas City Chiefs, and in the Premier League, 21 is nearly over the hill for a lot of people. It's not, but you get your start. If you barely went to Chelsea when you were 21, you're not going to make it, probably. But Patrick Mahomes has been lighting it up as a kid and really changing the game. And so here are some of the career highlights. His win-loss record is 50-13. Remember, they play 17 games, regular season games, a season. So that's 50 in 5 years or 4 or 5 years. He was the 2018 NFL MVP, the 2019 Super Bowl MVP, 117 touchdowns in his first 50 games. He had 50 touchdowns in his first full season, which was his second year in the league. And then he won a Super Bowl in his second season starting. So he started 50, should have gone to the Super Bowl, didn't happen. Went the next season and beat Tom Brady. To get to the Super Bowl. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to bring in somebody who also knows a lot about football, and he knows a lot about other football. And when Director John said, oh, who does he support? I said, Arsenal and the Dallas Cowboys. And he said, oh, so he knows nothing about football. Leave it to a Giants fan to troll him. Giants fan, Leeds fan to troll him. So let's get him in here. You guys know him and you love him. Gary, don't waste the tweet. Good to see you, man.
Hello.
Huh?
So now John is a Giants fan. Oh, great.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You bring a Dallas Cowboy fan on this show with a Vikings fan?
Oh.
Dallas raped us in the 90s. They raped us with this little Herschel Walker.
Yeah, that was. Well, thank you very much. That's all I can say about that. Thank you very much. The three Super Bowls after that were great.
No.
They were great.
We supplied you with everything but the coach and the balls. No, actually, they were the balls because you just sliced them right off.
Yeah, you got to think Gary's second and third team have to be the Vikings and the Bills, right? Like you just love them.
Even Pittsburgh tried their hardest, in the Super Bowl. They did wonders for us in the Super Bowl. So we had it all. Everybody gave us whatever we wanted. It was great.
O'Donnell threw 3 interceptions in that one.
Yeah. When a defender becomes MVP of the game,
He caught all 3. But Dallas only won. They won by a single score, right?
It was close. It was close. Yeah.
It seemed like it would have been a blowout.
Yeah. But
when your
defense scores that much, your offense doesn't get much time on the field. So,
guys,
I used to be a mutant about football, or American.
You guys are talking ancient history. We're talking about the Instagram quarterback. We are talking about the new age, the side slinging, the flick passes, the running for as many touchdowns as he's passing, the guy who you can't leave 15 seconds on the clock because he's going to march down the field and tie up the game. So for all of our actual football fans, our Premier League fans here, let's just give you a brief rundown of Patrick Mahomes. I know I gave you his highlights, but more importantly, the thing that sets him apart is that from day one, so he was brought in as a rookie, did not start. He was a backup to Kirk Cousins. Is that correct?
No, he was
the other one.
He was a backup to Alex Smith.
So Alex Smith, he was supposed to learn, and then Alex Smith got hurt. Mahomes comes in for one game, lights it up. Alex Smith is shipped off, and Mahomes has been the number one most important player to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they've seen this is their heyday, and they've only won one Super Bowl. but they're constantly in it. So, guys, start thinking about your Premier League players right now. Start thinking somebody who was young, somebody who came in and immediately made an impact, somebody who won the league very, very soon in their career. Then they've been vying for the league every year since, vying for league MVP the year that he didn't win the league, and continually doing it, and is still on a path. He could have 5 more Super Bowls in his career. So start thinking that way. Guys, let me know right now, right off the top of your head, who pops into your head? Gary?
Now with all those accolades that you just gave, whatever I put down, it doesn't even fit in. It doesn't even work now because I keep forgetting about it. It's got to be a young player, right? A young player that's come into the league and basically lit the world on fire with their performances. And
it's a lot of the crowd is saying Phil Foden. Phil Foden right now. I just don't think he's as important to Manchester City as Patrick Mahomes is to Kansas City.
No, I mean, Foden is on a team. He's not, like you said, he is not the star. He doesn't even play. They don't require him to play every game, and then they don't miss him when he doesn't play.
Lovely luxury to have on that squad.
Yeah. I mean, Saka does more for his team than Foden does, and it still doesn't even come close, right? When you put it that way. How you doing, Mr. Tom? Hello, everybody in the chats. Welcome. So, young player in Premier League football. That is a really tough one to come in and make that much of a difference in their first full year in the league.
Now remember, we can't. It's not a direct translation of years because, as we were saying, the NFL is much different. You don't start until you're 21, usually out of college. So it does take a year or so to get into it. That's what was so shocking about him being fucking incredible right from the start. So I think. So someone that Mark and I were mentioning was like a Kevin De Bruyne. Now, Kevin De Bruyne is 30. Patrick Mahomes is 26. However, and so Kevin De Bruyne's career is already, 3 times as long as Patrick Mahomes. But he hits some of those criteria. He won. He continues to win. He continues to be... to vie for trophies every single year. And I feel he is the most important player on Manchester City, if there had to be one. Mark, what are your thoughts on all that?
I have a hard time with these comparisons. The sport they're awfully different. And, I think that Mahomes has... He was put to the fire at very early. He played one game. He showed what he can do. It impressed the coaches, and the rest is NFL history. But it's just you don't in the NFL. It's 17 games. Is it 17 now, or is it 18 weeks now? They just changed
NFL.
It,
I think
it's now. This is the first season where we're 17 games.
Yeah. So it's 18 weeks with the bye. So it's an 18-week season. Premier League is, it's 38 games and stretched over with all the breaks and whatnot. You in the NFL, if you have a bad game, you have 2 bad games. And I want to say that like Mahomes had a couple of bad games to start the season. He wasn't running so hot. They were actually questioning, is this the downturn for Patrick Mahomes? But they stick with them. In the Premiership, you have a couple of bad games. There's someone next in line that we're gonna slot him in, and we're gonna give him a chance and give this guy.
Bobby's even saying how KDB failed early in his career, though Chelsea sent him to the Farmers League in Germany. And that's what happens a lot of times. Like, that doesn't happen in the NFL. So that's why it's not a direct comparison.
Because there is no way to do that.
So
there's no way you can send somebody to another league.
Yeah. What about what Scott Newby is saying right here? If Conte was younger than 24, 25 at Leicester, then that sounds familiar. So I'm going to take the age element and kind of move it to the side and go more development. So in Conte's development, he was very young at, 24, 25. He was a no-name pretty much. I know Arsenal passed on him. Arsene Wenger passed on him and got Granit Xhaka.
You didn't have to bring that up, I mean, it's late in the evening. I really now I'm going to have nightmares again.
Just because we mentioned Mr. Granit Xhaka, can we get a red card just in honor of Granit Xhaka?
I mean, I don't even know where. It's late at night. It's after 10 o'clock. I mean, there's got to be a limit to.
John, come on.
Look at it. He might card you. You know how when you're begging for a card, you end up getting carded?
Oh, no, we're all locked up.
Thomas Frank, that was awesome. He was like, awesome. You're going to give me a yellow? Fuck off. Give me a red. And he did. Now,
but
I've never seen
I think Conte's not a bad shout.
Yeah. I don't want to interrupt, but I have a quick question. So I've never seen a manager get a red before. What does that entail? What happens?
Same thing. He's out games. Yeah.
So he's out one game because it was a double yellow.
If it was a double yellow, then
because he gave him a yellow first, then he gave him a red.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. Anyway, you were saying Conte.
I just don't think Conte has the flair. Conte hits those other stats, but he doesn't have the flair. To me, if we would have won the league like a couple years ago, Saka's first real year starting to play, then I would be saying Saka, because he lights it up every time he's on the pitch. He does something new. He's creative. He's that Instagram sort of, or like a, these Martinelli types, these younger sort of, and that's why somebody mentioned Mason Mount, and I'm like, he's won the things, but I don't find Mason Mount to be as important.
And the one thing you got to think about, at least if you're gonna compare them to Mahomes, is the influence that they have on the game. And you basically, when their team plays, who do you think about first? Who do you think about first? Who's the person you got to stop? And you got to stop Mahomes. If you can stop KDB, you can probably you're going to have a better chance of winning, right? If you can stop Mount, it doesn't really matter, right? Because there's other players around there that are more influential in what's going to happen. Like Conte, when he went through that run where he was winning, all the trophies, right? In like a 2-3 year span.
Leicester, then Chelsea.
If you were able to, he was dominating those games in terms of his influence on those games, right? Like he was, MVPs of those games, winning the World Cup and all that stuff. His name was one of the first names you thought about when you said, why? Why did this team win?
And then you say, why does Pogba look good with France? Well, he's got fucking Conte, not Fred.
Fred's having a good season. Come on.
Based on all of that, guys, are we looking at a shout for Mo Salah? I know it took him a while to get where he's gone, but if we look at his career from Liverpool, he hit the ground running. He's lighting it up. If you can get Salah out of a game, you stand a chance.
I always thought when they started, when that run was going on, it was Salah and it was Mane to me. Both those guys to me kind of like, because Mane seemed to be the guy that seemed to be like, Salah put the goals in, but Mane basically scared defenses for me, which for me allowed Salah to get the space that he needed. I mean, if you could, some games, if Mane was just a terror in the game, he may not score, he may have scored, but he just was like so dominating in that sense that Salah just finished off and put goals in. That's kind of how I looked at those two together. When they were making those runs through the Champions League and then winning the league and all of that. So for me, those two together kind of are what was scary. Salah by himself, I don't think scares you as much. But you
okay. But Gary, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce.
Yes.
Tyreek Hill. I'm sorry. This last game against the Bills, they're fucking losing. They have a minute on the clock. They need 4 points. He throws from the 30-yard line, throws a little 10-yarder to Tyreek Hill, who busts out for 60 yards.
Yeah.
That wasn't Mahomes. That was Tyreek Hill. Now he got him the pass.
Yeah. Well, I also like
And
one
then,
thing that popped in. Yeah. Something else that popped in, like we're talking about KDB, the last shot that he scored. Does any goalkeeper stop that? Because they don't even know he's going to shoot it, right? Nothing
that was
about that
one
says,
moment of
you know what?
brilliance. Yeah.
You know, like he had like a fraction of a second to decide, you know, I'm going to put this thing. Like, nobody's going to know I'm shooting it. There's no way you're thinking I'm shooting this goal, shooting this ball.
Yeah.
Boom, ball's gone. By the time you think about it, it's too late. It's in the net, and you're like, ouch. Now I don't know how often he does those types of things because that's what Mahomes does, right? He made that one throw, he made a couple of throws in the last game that just are not. My God. Yeah. They're not written down.
Yeah. The sidearm, this. Now, but look at that. How did we lose to Man City? We were tied. It was going like blow the whistle, blow the whistle, blow the whistle, and everyone's like, "Oh, that goal by fucking Rodri or whoever got it." No. It was a beautiful, dropped a dime. Kevin De Bruyne got a yard of space, and he dropped a dime into the box to make something happen. And it all like ping pong, pinballed, and they got the goal. But to me, Kevin De Bruyne beat us, not Rodri. Kevin De Bruyne beat us on that last play.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know.
It's hard with the young. It's hard with the age and the development. If you're going to take away the age and just say development, right? I think you can get different pieces of Mahomes in the league, right? Because some will say, like, Bergkamp can create something out of nothing, right? But he was a lot older, and a lot probably seasoned than Mahone, right? Yeah. But the skills that you're seeing from Mahomes are the same things that you would expect. You would see similarly in Premier League from a Bergkamp, for example. And, you know, some people would say he's like the MVP of that team next to Henry. It's kind of a debatable, and you don't win or lose either way, either play you pick, right? Who was the most influential and the most important player there. So
on a season where you go undefeated, it's not just your striker that's doing that. Like, like there's other. That's why Conte is the MVP all the time of every team he fucking plays for, because he owns. He's not scoring goals. He's not directly blocking shots. He's in the middle running that shit. So this is why it's so difficult to have a direct comparison. Let me get to some of these comments real quick, and then I'm going to go to you, Mark. So hold that thought. We've just, these guys are all trying to follow us along, and they're like, I have no idea what we're talking about. So Bobby says, Lolo said in a show last week, which Premier League player do you really love watching? And I had no reply. It's tough. No Ronaldinho coming through. Yeah. Ronaldinho. Reece James when healthy. Get out of here. Damn.
You know what? Reece James every once in a while, like, will dominate a game, and like he punished us, right?
Yeah.
And then like he disappears.
All
That's
right,
the problem,
Dan,
though.
You get some points there, Dan.
No, I know. But I mean, think about it. In some of those games, you're like, why is this guy scoring? And then for like 2 or 3 games later, you're like, he hasn't done anything. But he comes in spurts. And
then Scott says, based on all arguments presented so far, I'd like to change my suggestion from Conte to Tyler Roberts. Mr. Tyro, get out of here. I'll take Tyrone Mings before I take Tyro from Leeds.
that hit today. I don't know if you saw I saw the replay. That did not look good.
That looked bad. He walked off though, didn't he?
I don't think he knows his name the way he landed, and like you don't land like that if you're conscious. I think he was knocked out for a little bit.
All right, Mark. Sorry to pause you there, but you got to feed the beast.
Sure, man. Whatever you got to do. One of the things that I was kind of curious about is the way that players move within the league.
Yeah.
And how that might change this conversation a little bit, if something happened or if something will happen. For instance, now I'm just asking this question. I'm not making the comparison, but I am kind of curious of what you guys might think about this. But what if, would we be mentioning Jesse Lingard if he had been allowed to stay at West Ham and continued to do the things that he was doing for West Ham?
He hasn't won anything. Came to West Ham the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, unless you're
scored 7 goals in a row, so I don't know. 7 games, 7 goals, so it's like You can't
unless you're Man City. No one has won. I mean, Man City's won 3 out of the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool, Chelsea.
Sure, but if we're talking young people, unless you're on City, it suddenly you are very limited to what you can talk about. I mean, which is like when you first posed this question, I was thinking Kevin De Bruyne, but you had initially posed the question about who's the most Tom Brady-ish of the Premier League, and I thought to myself, I was like, well, that's in my mind, that's Sergio Aguero. He won 5 Premier Leagues. He won the golden boot or best boy or grip or camera holder. That's a grip. He did so much. And so then when you pose the youngin and someone that has had such an influence on the game at such a young age, I just couldn't. I had a hard time thinking about Kevin De Bruyne because I didn't want to say another City fan, and here we are, because that's if the criteria is someone who's won it, you're in the Premier League, you're limiting things quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now okay, we're talking Premier League.
Gary?
Sorry. Yep. No, you're talking Premier League because I'm just thinking like Mbappe would be a player that you would say when he maybe not towards the end of last year, but the years before that when he was young and still dominating. That's the type of player that we're talking about that you just fear. You're fearful of.
Unfortunately, I'm things are very narrow for me when it comes to
world
football. To world football, I just don't have the time to watch La Liga and Serie A.
Yeah, you know what? If Mbappe wouldn't have gone to PSG, or if Mbappe was on a team where he could be the focus, I think he would be doing a lot better. I just feel like he gets lost in that. And like another guy, so everything that I keep describing about Patrick Mahomes just keeps bringing me back to, I mean, world football. And if we go to any time, any era, I mean, it's Messi to me. Like somebody who nobody was ready for. He's on a team with some best of all time players on the team, and he comes in and they're like, what the fuck is this little guy doing? And his number on the back of his shirt, he was like 87, and then it just keeps going lower and lower and lower and lower until he's the number 10 for Barcelona. And he just keeps doing it, and without him, Barcelona fail. And I think without Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City is not Kansas City. Yep. Look at the Saints. We lost Breeze, and we're like, I don't know. Even Peyton's like, I'm done.
I'm gonna leave you a little Trojan horse. Here's Taysom, whatever that guy.
No, here's the Buccaneers. What's his name?
Jameson Winston.
Fucking Jameson.
Well, you know what? He actually played okay.
Jameson.
He didn't play.
He actually did. He was playing very well before he got hurt. I felt kind of bad for him.
Yeah.
But not.
He finally had a good coach that can help him out, and then boom, he gets knocked out. And you're
he was making really great, smart decisions, for sure.
All right, guys, we're on we're coming down to the end of the show. So everybody in the audience, I just want to thank you guys for being here late night, getting in on the comments. It's time to put your final choice. What do they say? Is that your final answer? So put your final answer down in the comments section, and let's see what everybody thinks. So, Mark, Gary, it's time to say it. It's here and now. You're putting it on live, somewhat television. Who is the Patrick Mahomes of the Premier League?
De Bruyne. Sure, De Bruyne.
Wait, yeah, I was it was between him and Conte, because Conte actually has won multiple Premier Leagues in 2 different teams, a World Cup, and he's still, a threat. The numbers don't even equate to what Mahomes gives you, but the importance and the dominance and all of that definitely does. Yeah. Hey, Holland,
I think Scott Newby hit on it. That's the winner. That wins.
Yeah, that
wins a lifetime supply of glow-in-the-dark toilet paper.
Erling
Haaland, water.
Erling Haaland is the Patrick Mahomes of the Premier League.
I think
all right,
so.
We'll give it to him. Sure. I think he's right. I think I'm leaning towards Mo Salah. I have to say, Con, I agree with you. If we forget about Roma and everything when he was at Roma and go with his Liverpool start, I think I'd have to give it to Salah.
Tony Roma?
Tony Roma.
Tony Roma and a case of Corona.
And then we got 2 votes for Lord Joffy. Tom says he will be. That's Gellart for Leeds. We'll see, guys. You guys gotta win the Premier League very soon. Then, okay, guys. Well, that's it for the show. Before we leave, I just need to make sure we give a big shout out to our sponsors for the day. Gary, we're getting huge. I don't know if you noticed, but we got so many sponsors. I don't even know all of our sponsors. So
we get
every
to see
show, we get a new mystery sponsor. So Director John,
I'm looking forward to this.
On the Stoop mystery sponsor. Hold on, Lolo. It gets weird from here. Today's mystery sponsor is... I love when my name is in the mystery sponsor. Lolo's Genetically Modified Farmers Market. Call now for locations near you. Today's special, miniature fruit. All the vitamins and minerals in normal size fruit, but it's 1/100th of the size. And we also have caffeinated oranges, a perfect one-stop breakfast. And lasting lettuce, won't wilt for 6 months in or out of the fridge. And these are all Greta approved. Well, thank you very much to Lolo's Genetically Modified Farmers Market, and thank you so much to the Vampire Stoop crew over here and all the Stoop crew over here in the U.S. Gary, thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me.
And Mark, great conversation. I thought, man, it could go on forever, but I think we've just opened the doors a little bit to this NFL Premier League mashup, all right? We'll keep it going throughout the Super Bowl time, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 10 o'clock for some more, another, as I called it, frivolous discussion, frivolous debate. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much, John, MVP.
Peace. See you guys.